Hello and welcome back to Ant Holleufer. Before this video starts, I will show a little 1 hour time lapse turned into around 60 seconds, which means that 1 second is equal to 1 minute. I also have a link for a 3.5 minute version of this time lapse, so it's a bit slower to kinda more see what's going on. On top of the nest, I'll also be putting a full-size beetle for the first time, to see how the ants react to such a large prey. But let's just start the time lapse. So right as the ants got interested in the beetle and they started to feast on it and start to drag it around, my camera and my SD card was empty of battery and full of space. So I quickly had to put some charge into the battery and empty the SD card. But of course, while I emptied the SD card, everything started to happen with the beetle. And I then got this clip where the ant had started to drag the beetle down into the nest. Now, it was stuck here for around a minute or 2 minutes, so at the end I didn't believe that it would happen, and of course as soon as I stopped recording they dragged it into the nest. So here we can see when the beetle first entered the nest, and it was a direct course down towards the queen chamber and the eggs and larvae and all that, and that is because the meat is going to these two parts of the colony, the queen and the larvae, so it would make sense why they quickly get it down there. And inside I will make a little time lapse of this little chamber, and as you see here, they are really biting into it and start to drag it around, and suddenly they start to kind of take it on top again and out of the chamber and then down into the chamber, and there was a lot of confusion. So I put on my macro lens, and then they had taken the beetle all the way over to the queen. I started to see that the ants in the background and the whole colony started to like panic. I don't know why. It just seems like panic was spreading through the colony. Maybe it wasn't a clever idea to take this large beetle into the nest. And I also tried to see here how the ants were just all over the place and kind of in attack mode or defense mode. Also, you're seeing they are carrying a lot of eggs around, and that's also a sign to me that they're not happy. And then I start to see the queen start to leave. She's leaving in the left-right corner of the screen. And also they had dragged the beetle a bit away from the larvae. So while I recorded the beetle, the queen suddenly saw her time to move, and she moved out of the chamber and started to go around the nest to see a better secure place. I'm also pointing a lamp directly at them, so she has a tendency to hide where it's dark. But then I got this amazing clip of one ant just carrying the whole beetle by itself. I've seen them carry mealworms alone, but this is a full-size beetle and it's dragging them up. But what I didn't notice before now was she was dragging it up towards the queen once again. So the queen tried to escape, and then they dragged the beetle over to her. So not a lot of contact in here, they just misread each other. So the queen just decided to go back to the egg chamber. And now it suddenly seemed like the beetle were on her way out of the nest. As you see here, this is right on top of the nest entrance. So it seemed like they were maybe gonna carry it outside the nest once again. But they just decided to drag it all over the place before finally settling on this little place down here, where they just dropped the beetle. And the beetle actually stayed here for around, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. And after a while they had started to settle a bit down. And as I decided, you know, that's been it for this little recording session, I decided to make a time lapse once again. But then the beetle were on its way again. So here you can see how the beetle once again were kind of on the move. You can also see here that there's a lot more going on with this time lapse here than in the 1 hour time lapse. So I hope next time I do a 1 hour time lapse it will be a lot better. But we'll see. So I left them overnight, and the next morning they had thrown the beetle outside the nest to kind of dump it. So I took it and trashed it. I guess that was their saying of they had emptied the beetle, or maybe there wasn't enough meat in the beetle. But you know, the Messor colony is doing very great, I think. I have started to see 7 workers on top of the nest wandering around, and almost at all moments of the day there's also a worker in the outworld. And this is my first ant colony which actually is doing this since I started making YouTube again. So here you can just see a worker wandering the outworld a little bit. They still have their seed ball that they can also always take off. Since they moved, they haven't been that aggressive in taking the seeds home. Before I moved them, they always took the seeds, but they haven't been that excited anymore. And yeah, that's been it for this Messor Barbarus colony this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video.